Ladies and gentlemen, I want to speak to you today about a profound truth that many of us may have overlooked in our pursuit of financial success. The title of my message is simple yet powerful. God doesn't give you money, He gives you potential. You see, we live in a world where many people pray and ask God for money. They cry out, Lord, bless me with wealth, give me financial abundance. But I want to challenge your thinking today. God doesn't give you money because money is not His currency. God's currency is not dollars, euros, or yen. God's currency is ideas, wisdom, and potential. When God created Adam, He didn't give him a bank account full of cash. What did God do? He placed Adam in a garden full of resources. He gave Adam the ability to work, to cultivate, and to turn those resources into something valuable. God gave Adam potential. God operates on a profound principle that governs all creation, the principle of seeds. Everything that God initiates starts with a seed. And this principle is deeply embedded in the way He orchestrates life, growth, and even your financial prosperity. When you ask God for blessings, especially financial ones, it's essential to understand that He doesn't hand you money directly. Instead, He places in your hands the seeds from which prosperity can grow. These seeds take many forms, ideas, talents, skills, opportunities, and they are the raw materials for your success. The key is not to focus on what you lack, but to recognize and cultivate what you already possess. This concept is beautifully illustrated in the parable of the talents found in Matthew 25. In the story, a master entrusts his servants with talents, each according to their ability. One servant receives 5 talents, another 2, and the last one. It's important to note that the master did not give them wealth in its final form. He gave them potential. These talents represented seeds, opportunities for the servants to invest, develop, and multiply. The servants who received 5 and 2 talents went out and traded, doubling what they had been given. They understood the principle of the seed. They knew that the talents were not the end, but the beginning of something greater. However, the servant who received 1 talent acted differently. Instead of investing and cultivating his talent, he buried it in the ground. His actions reflect a misunderstanding of the principle at work. He failed to recognize the potential within the seed he had been given. The master's rebuke was not because this servant had less than the others, but because he did nothing with the potential he had. The servant's failure was not in receiving less, but in failing to develop what he had. This story is a powerful reminder that God's blessings often come in seed form. He gives you the potential, but it's your responsibility to nurture, invest, and multiply what you've been given. Just like a seed that must be planted, watered, and cared for before it can grow into a fruitful tree, your ideas, talents, and opportunities must be diligently cultivated. It's easy to look at others who seem to have more and feel inadequate. But the true measure of success is not in how much you start with, but in what you do with what you have. God has already equipped you with everything you need to succeed. The seeds are in your hands. The question is, what will you do with them? Will you bury them out of fear or uncertainty, or will you invest, work, and trust in the growth process? Remember, the potential for prosperity is already within you, but it requires your active participation to bring it to fruition. God has given you the most powerful resource on the planet, your mind. The Bible says in Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinks in his heart, so as he, this verse underscores a profound truth. Your thoughts shape your reality. The wealth you desire, the success you seek, and the opportunities you long for are all locked up in your mind. It's in your thoughts, your ideas, and your creativity that the seeds of prosperity are sown. Your mind is a divine gift capable of generating solutions, envisioning possibilities, and transforming potential into reality. When you examine the lives of the wealthiest and most successful people in the world, one thing becomes clear. They didn't just stumble upon money by chance or luck. Instead, they harnessed the power of their minds to create wealth. They had ideas that addressed needs, solved problems, and added value to the lives of others. Whether it was inventing a new technology, founding a groundbreaking company, or offering a service that met a critical need, these individuals turned their mental resources into tangible wealth. Take, for example, the story of many of the world's greatest entrepreneurs. They started with little more than an idea, a seed of thought that, when nurtured and developed, grew into something extraordinary. They understood that their minds were their greatest assets, and they invested time, energy, and resources into cultivating those ideas. They didn't wait for wealth to come to them. They created it by leveraging the potential within their minds. This principle is not limited to the few who have become billionaires. It's a universal truth that applies to each of us. The difference between those who achieve great things and those who don't often lies in how they use their minds. If you fill your mind with doubt, fear, and negativity, you will find yourself paralyzed and unable to move forward. But if you fill your mind with faith, creativity, and a belief in the possibilities, you will unlock doors that lead to success. The mind is where ideas are born, and ideas are the currency of the future. In a world that is constantly changing and evolving, those who can think creatively, adapt, and innovate will always have an edge. Your mind is the incubator of dreams, the birthplace of visions, and the workshop where solutions are crafted. It's where you plan, strategize, and set the course for your life. The thoughts you entertain, the beliefs you hold, and the ideas you cultivate will determine the direction of your life. God has already equipped you with everything you need to succeed, and it all begins in your mind. The question is, how are you using this powerful tool? Are you filling it with thoughts that propel you towards your goals, or are you allowing it to be bogged down by limitations and distractions? Are you feeding your mind with knowledge, wisdom, and inspiration, or are you letting it stagnate? Remember, your mind is a garden. What you plant in it will grow. If you plant seeds of faith, hope, and determination, you will reap a harvest of success. But if you allow weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity to take root, they will choke out the potential that lies within you. So I urge you to guard your mind, nurture your thoughts, and cultivate the seeds of greatness that God has placed within you. Your mind is your greatest asset. And when you use it wisely, there is no limit to what you can achieve. The wealth, success, and fulfillment you seek are already within your reach, locked within the power of your mind. Unlock that potential and watch as God brings forth a harvest of blessings in your life. Many people see work as a curse. But I want to remind you today that work is not a burden, it is a gift from God. In Genesis 2:15, we see that God placed Adam in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. This was before the fall, before sin entered the world. This means that work is not a punishment or a result of sin. It is a divine assignment given to humanity from the very beginning. Work is an integral part of God's plan for our lives. It is through our labor that we participate in God's ongoing creation, cultivating the potential He has placed within us and the world around us. Too often we view work as something to be endured, something we must get through in order to enjoy the fruits of our labor. But this perspective misses the deeper purpose of work. Work is not just about earning a paycheck or acquiring material wealth. It is about fulfilling the purpose for which God created us. When we work, we are co-laboring with God, using the gifts, talents, and abilities He has given us to make a difference in the world. Deuteronomy 8:18 reminds us, but remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. Notice that the scripture does not say God gives you wealth directly instead. It emphasizes that He gives you the ability to produce wealth. This is a crucial distinction. God provides the potential, the creativity, the talents, and the opportunities, but it is up to us to take these divine gifts and turn them into something tangible. This is where work comes into play. Your ability to work is a divine endowment. It is through your diligence, effort, and perseverance that you bring God's blessings into reality. Whether you are working in an office, on a construction site, in a classroom, or at home, your work is a sacred activity. It is through your labor that you manifest the potential God has given you, turning it into something of value that can benefit others and glorify God. In the parable of the talents, the servants who were praised by their master were those who took what they were given and worked diligently to increase it. They understood that what they had been given was not the finished product, but the raw material. Through their work, they were able to multiply what they had been entrusted with. This is the same principle that applies to us today. The talents, skills, and opportunities we have are seeds that must be planted, nurtured, and cultivated through hard work. Work is also a means of character development. It teaches us discipline, patience, and perseverance. It refines us, shapes us, and prepares us for greater responsibilities. When we embrace work as a gift from God, we begin to see it not as a chore, but as an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to contribute to the world in meaningful ways. Moreover, work is a form of worship. Colossians 3:23-24 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. When we work with this mindset, our labor becomes an act of devotion. We are not just working for a paycheck or to please our bosses, we are working to honor God. Every task, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, becomes a way to glorify Him. It's also important to remember that work is not limited to our jobs or careers. The work of raising a family, serving in the community, or pursuing personal growth, all of these are forms of work that God values. Each of these areas provides opportunities to cultivate the gifts God has given us and to make a positive impact on the world. Work is a gift from God, a divine assignment that enables us to develop the potential He has placed within us. It is through our diligent efforts that we produce wealth, not just in material terms, but in the richness of life, relationships, and spiritual growth. When we embrace work with the right attitude, seeing it as an opportunity to serve God and others, we unlock the fullness of the blessings God has prepared for us. So, let us approach our work with gratitude, diligence, and a commitment to excellence, knowing that through our labor we are fulfilling our God-given purpose and contributing to His kingdom on earth. Finally, let's turn our attention to the vital issue of stewardship. Stewardship is about more than just handling money. It's about managing all that God has entrusted to you, including your time, talents, and resources. But today, let's focus specifically on the stewardship of money, because it is a crucial area where many of us struggle. Money in itself is neither good nor evil. It is simply a tool. And like any tool, its impact depends on how it is used. In the hands of a wise and faithful steward, money can build, bless, and bring about great good. But in the hands of a careless or selfish person, it can destroy, corrupt, and bring about harm. The Bible teaches us in Luke 16:10, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. This verse highlights a principle that is both simple and profound. God will not entrust you with more if you cannot manage what you already have. This principle applies to all areas of life, but it is especially true when it comes to money. Many people pray for financial breakthroughs, asking God to bless them with more wealth. But the question we must ask ourselves is this: are we being faithful stewards of what we already have? Your financial breakthrough is not just about receiving more. It's about how well you manage what you currently possess. If you are faithful with the little you have, God can trust you with more. But if you are careless, wasteful, or irresponsible with what you have now, why would God give you more? Stewardship is about being intentional and responsible with your resources. It's about recognizing that everything you have belongs to God, and you are simply the manager entrusted with the task of using these resources wisely. Let's get practical. Are you a good steward of your finances? Do you have a budget, or do you spend impulsively without any plan or purpose? Do you save and invest, or do you live paycheck to paycheck, always on the edge of financial crisis? Are you generous, giving to those in need and supporting the work of God's kingdom? Or do you hold tightly to your money, afraid to let it go? These are tough questions, but they are necessary for us to consider if we are serious about being faithful stewards. The Bible is clear that those who are faithful with little will be entrusted with much. This means that how you handle your current financial situation is a test of your character, your discipline, and your priorities. If you are faithful in managing a small income, God knows you will be faithful when he blesses you with more. But if you are unfaithful in managing a small income, why would God trust you with greater wealth? Stewardship also involves understanding the purpose of money. Money is not just for your personal comfort or pleasure, it's a tool for fulfilling God's purposes on earth. When you see money as a tool rather than an end in itself, it changes your perspective. You begin to ask, how can I use this money to honor God? How can I invest in things that have eternal value? How can I bless others with what I have been given? This mindset transforms your approach to money from one of selfish accumulation to one of purposeful generosity. Moreover, stewardship requires discipline. It requires the discipline to say no to unnecessary expenses, the discipline to save for the future, and the discipline to invest wisely. It also requires the discipline to give, even when it stretches your faith. God's economy operates on principles that often contradict worldly wisdom. The world says, hoard what you have, but God says, give, and it will be given to you. The world says, live for today, but God says, prepare for tomorrow. The world says, money is power, but God says, stewardship is power. As you reflect on your financial life, consider whether you are living as a faithful steward of the resources God has given you. Are you managing your money with wisdom and purpose, or are you allowing it to control you? Are you preparing for the future, or are you living only for the moment? Are you generous with what you have, or do you cling to it out of fear? These are the questions that will determine not only your financial success, but also your ability to fulfill God's calling on your life. Stewardship is a critical aspect of your financial journey. It's not just about how much money you have, it's about how you manage what you have. God is looking for faithful stewards, people who will take what they have been given, however small, and use it wisely, diligently, and generously. When you prove yourself faithful with little, God can trust you with more. And when you manage your money with purpose and discipline, you position yourself to receive the financial breakthroughs you seek. Remember, money is a tool, and in the hands of a faithful steward, it can accomplish great things for the glory of God. Let's delve into the profound concept of purpose over passion, and why discovering your God-given purpose is far more important than simply following your passions. In today's world, we often hear messages that urge us to follow your passion, to pursue whatever makes us feel excited, happy, or fulfilled. While passion is important, it is not the ultimate guide for our lives. Passion can be fleeting, driven by emotions and circumstances. It can change with the seasons of life. And what excites you today may not fulfill you tomorrow. But purpose is enduring, unchanging, and divinely ordained. It is the reason for which you were created, the assignment that God has specifically designed for you. Understanding your God-given purpose is the key to living a meaningful and impactful life. Purpose is not something you invented, it's something you discover. It is woven into the very fabric of your being, placed within you by God before you were even born. Ephesians 2:10 tells us, for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. This means that before you ever took your first breath, God had already laid out a path for you, a path of good works, meaningful contributions, and divine assignments that only you can fulfill. When you live according to your purpose, you align yourself with God's will, and your life takes on a sense of direction and fulfillment that passion alone can never provide. Passion is like a fire. It can burn brightly, but it can also burn out. Purpose, however, is like a compass. It keeps you on course, guiding you through both the highs and lows of life. It gives you the strength to persevere when the excitement fades, when the challenges arise, and when the journey becomes difficult. Purpose sustains you when passion alone cannot. Consider the life of Jesus. He was undoubtedly passionate about his mission, but it was his sense of purpose that drove him to fulfill his destiny. In John 4:34, Jesus said, my food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. His purpose was clear: to do the will of the Father and complete the work he was sent to do. It was this purpose that kept him focused, even in the face of immense suffering and sacrifice. Passion may have ignited his ministry, but it was purpose that sustained him to the end. Similarly, when you discover your true purpose, it brings clarity and focus to your life. It helps you prioritize your time, energy, and resources. You begin to see your life as part of a bigger picture, understanding that every experience, every challenge, and every opportunity is part of God's greater plan for you. Purpose gives you the power to say no to distractions, to let go of pursuits that may seem appealing but do not align with your divine assignment. It gives you the wisdom to invest in what truly matters and the courage to walk away from what does not. Moreover, purpose brings fulfillment that passion alone cannot. When you are living in your purpose, there is a deep sense of satisfaction that comes from knowing you are in the center of God's will. This fulfillment is not dependent on external circumstances or the ups and downs of life. It is a deep, abiding joy that comes from being aligned with your Creator and contributing to His kingdom. Passion may give you moments of happiness, but purpose gives you a lifetime of fulfillment. It's important to note that your purpose and your passions are not necessarily in opposition. Often, God places passions within you that align with your purpose. However, it is crucial to let purpose take the lead. When you discover your purpose, your passions will find their proper place. They will no longer drive you, but instead they will serve your greater mission. Your passions will become tools that God uses to help you fulfill your purpose, rather than distractions that pull you away from it. Let's now explore the profound impact of vision, a force so powerful that it shapes not only our decisions and actions, but ultimately our destiny. Vision is the ability to see beyond the present moment, to perceive what could be rather than just what is. It is a divine insight into the future, a picture of what God intends for your life and the world around you. Vision is what propels you forward, even when circumstances seem to hold you back. It's what gives you direction when the path is unclear and hope when the journey is difficult. Proverbs 29:18 states, where there is no vision, the people perish. This verse highlights the critical importance of vision. Without a clear vision, life loses its meaning and purpose. You become like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly, vulnerable to the winds and waves. But with vision, you have a clear destination, a goal that guides your every decision and action. Vision is what separates those who merely exist from those who truly live with purpose and intention. A clear vision for the future is essential because it shapes every aspect of your life. It influences the choices you make, the paths you take, and the actions you perform daily. Vision is not just about dreaming, it's about having a focused and intentional plan for your life that aligns with God's purpose. When you have a vision, you are not easily swayed by distractions or setbacks because you know where you are headed. Your vision becomes a filter through which you evaluate every opportunity and challenge. Does this align with my vision? Does this move me closer to or further away from my destiny? These are the questions that a person with vision constantly asks. Vision also provides motivation and perseverance. When the road gets tough, and it inevitably will, vision keeps you moving forward. It gives you the strength to endure hardships, the courage to take risks, and the faith to overcome obstacles. People with a clear vision are not easily discouraged because they see beyond the now. They understand that temporary setbacks are just part of the journey, not the end of the story. Vision gives you the ability to look past your current circumstances and see the bigger picture. It allows you to focus on the future rather than being bogged down by the present. Consider the life of Joseph in the Bible. As a young man, Joseph had a vision, a dream that one day he would rise to a position of great authority and influence. That vision sustained him through years of hardship, betrayal, and imprisonment. No matter what he faced, Joseph held on to that vision, trusting that God would bring it to pass. And in the end, his vision became reality, not just for his benefit, but for the salvation of an entire nation. Joseph's life demonstrates the power of vision to shape destiny. even when the journey is filled with trials. Vision is not just about personal success, it is about fulfilling God's purpose for your life. When your vision aligns with God's will, it transcends personal ambition and becomes a tool for making a lasting impact on the world. Visionaries are those who see beyond their own needs and desires to the greater good. They are leaders, innovators, and change makers who understand that their lives are part of a bigger story, God's story. When you have a vision, you are not content to simply live for yourself. You are driven by a desire to contribute to something greater, to leave a legacy that honors God and blesses others. Moreover, vision requires discipline and focus. It's not enough to simply have a vision. You must also have the discipline to pursue it with determination and consistency. Vision will challenge you to grow, to stretch beyond your comfort zone, and to become the person God created you to be. It will require sacrifices, hard work, and sometimes even loneliness as you walk a path that others may not understand. But the rewards of living with vision far outweigh the costs. A life lived with vision is a life of purpose, fulfillment, and impact. To develop a powerful vision, start by seeking God's guidance. Spend time in prayer, asking God to reveal His plans for your life. Listen to His voice and be open to His leading. As you seek God, He will begin to unveil His vision for your life, a vision that is rooted in His word, aligned with His purpose, and designed to bring Him glory. Once you have a vision, write it down. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. Writing down your vision makes it tangible. And it serves as a constant reminder of what you are working toward. It also helps you stay focused and accountable. When challenges arise, and you can return to your written vision, reminding yourself of where you are headed and why you started in the first place. Let's turn our focus to the concept of maximizing your potential, the idea that each of us carries within us untapped abilities, gifts, and talents that are waiting to be unleashed. God has placed extraordinary potential within every one of us. But the key to living a fulfilled and impactful life lies in identifying, developing, and utilizing that potential. Potential is like a seed. It has the capacity to grow into something magnificent, but it requires the right environment, effort, and care to flourish. First, let's consider what potential truly is. Potential is the latent capacity within you to become something more than you currently are. It's the difference between where you are now and where you could be. It's the abilities you haven't yet discovered, the talents you haven't yet honed, and the opportunities you haven't yet seized. God created you with a unique combination of gifts. And those gifts are not just for your own benefit, but for the benefit of others and the glory of God. However, potential doesn't automatically translate into success or fulfillment. It must be cultivated and maximized. One of the first steps to maximizing your potential is to recognize and identify the gifts God has placed within you. Often we overlook our own abilities, either because we take them for granted or because we compare ourselves to others. But God has given each of us unique talents that are perfectly suited to our purpose. In Romans 12:6 it says, we have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. This means that your gifts are not random, they are divinely assigned. They are tools specifically designed to help you fulfill your God-given purpose. Take time to reflect on your strengths, your passions, and the things that come naturally to you. These are often indicators of the gifts God has placed within you. But don't stop there. Seek feedback from others who can help you see your potential more clearly. Sometimes others can see in us what we cannot see in ourselves. Listen to the compliments and encouragement you receive from those around you, and pay attention to the areas where you consistently excel. These are clues to your hidden potential. Once you've identified your gifts, the next step is to develop them. Just as a seed needs to be planted, watered, and nurtured to grow, your potential needs to be cultivated through effort and discipline. This means investing time and energy into developing your skills and talents. It means being willing to learn, to practice, and to grow. The parable of the talents in Matthew 25 teaches us the importance of developing what we have been given. The servants who invested and multiplied their talents were rewarded, while the one who buried his talent in the ground was rebuked. The message is clear. God expects us to develop and maximize the potential he has entrusted to us. Developing your potential also involves stepping out of your comfort zone. Growth rarely happens in places of comfort. To maximize your potential, you must be willing to take risks, try new things, and push beyond what you think you are capable of. This can be challenging, but it is also where the greatest growth occurs. As you stretch yourself, you'll discover strengths and abilities you never knew you had. You'll begin to realize that the limitations you once saw were not placed on you by God, but by your own fears and doubts. Let's now turn our attention to a principle that is foundational to every aspect of life and success, the principle of leadership. Specifically, the idea that true leadership begins with self-leadership and self-discipline. Leadership is often seen as the ability to influence others, to guide, inspire, and direct people towards a common goal. However, before you can effectively lead others, you must first be able to lead yourself. Self-leadership is the cornerstone of all true leadership, and it begins with the discipline to govern your own life decisions and actions. Self-discipline is the ability to control your impulses, emotions, and desires in order to achieve long-term goals. It's about making the right choices consistently, even when those choices are difficult or uncomfortable. Proverbs 25:28 says, like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control without self-discipline. Your life becomes vulnerable to external forces and internal weaknesses. Just as a city without walls is defenseless against enemies, a life without self-discipline is defenseless against distractions, temptations, and poor decisions. True leadership begins with mastering yourself, your thoughts, your habits, your emotions, and your actions. It means taking responsibility for your own growth and development and not waiting for others to push you or motivate you. It means setting goals for yourself and having the discipline to pursue them diligently. Before you can lead others effectively, you must first demonstrate that you can lead yourself. This is why self-discipline is not just a trait, but a principle that undergirds all successful leadership. One of the key aspects of self-leadership is setting a personal standard of excellence. Leaders don't wait for external circumstances to dictate their behavior. They set high standards for themselves regardless of what others are doing. They hold themselves accountable to these standards and strive to meet them every day. This requires discipline because it means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It means being consistent in your efforts, whether or not anyone else is watching. Consider the life of the Apostle Paul. He was a great leader, but his leadership was rooted in his ability to discipline himself. In 1 Corinthians 9:27, Paul says, I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. Paul understood that in order to lead others effectively, he first had to lead himself. He practiced self-discipline in his thoughts, actions, and habits, ensuring that his life was in alignment with the message he preached. This self-leadership is what gave Paul the credibility and influence to lead others in the early church. Another crucial element of self-discipline in leadership is the ability to manage your time and priorities. Time is one of the most valuable resources you have, and how you manage it determines your effectiveness as a leader. Leaders with strong self-discipline are intentional about how they spend their time. They prioritize tasks that align with their goals and purpose, and they avoid distractions that pull them away from their vision. This requires the discipline to say no to good opportunities so you can say yes to the best ones. Self-leadership also involves emotional discipline. Leaders must be able to manage their emotions, especially in challenging or stressful situations. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions, but rather understanding them and responding to them in a way that is constructive rather than reactive. Emotional discipline allows leaders to remain calm and composed, even in the face of adversity. It gives them the ability to make clear, rational decisions rather than being driven by fear, anger, or frustration. When you can lead yourself emotionally, you become a steady, reliable presence for others to follow. The principle of self-discipline also extends to your character and integrity. Leadership is not just about what you do, it's about who you are. Your character is the foundation of your leadership, and it is built through the consistent practice of self-discipline. This means living according to your values even when it's difficult. It means being honest, trustworthy, and dependable. Leaders with strong self-discipline don't compromise their principles for short-term gains. They stay true to their convictions, knowing that their character is what ultimately sustains their influence. When you lead yourself well, you earn the respect and trust of others. People are naturally drawn to leaders who are disciplined, consistent, and self-controlled. They know that such leaders can be trusted to make wise decisions, to follow through on their commitments, and to handle challenges with grace and strength. This is why self-leadership is so crucial. It's the foundation on which your influence is built. Without self-discipline, your leadership is unstable and your influence is limited. As we come to the end of our journey today, let's take a moment to reflect on the powerful truths we've explored. We've examined the foundational principles that shape our financial prosperity, personal growth, and leadership. From understanding the seed principle and the role of vision to the importance of self-discipline and maximizing our potential, each of these principles calls us to a higher standard of living and leading. Remember that God does not simply give us money. He provides us with seeds, ideas, talents, and opportunities that, when nurtured and developed, can lead to financial abundance and personal fulfillment. Your mind, the greatest asset you have, is the wellspring of creativity and potential. It's through harnessing this potential that you will unlock the doors to prosperity and purpose. Work is not a curse, but a divine assignment, a gift that allows us to cultivate the potential God has placed within us. Through diligent work, we honor God's provision and fulfill our calling. Stewardship of our resources, including money, is crucial. We are entrusted with what we have and are called to manage it wisely, knowing that faithfulness in little leads to greater responsibilities and blessings. Understanding and pursuing your God-given purpose is more important than simply following your passions. It's in fulfilling this purpose that you find true meaning and impact. And having a vision, seeing beyond the now, shapes your decisions and actions, guiding you towards your destiny. Maximizing your potential is a lifelong journey of discovering and developing the gifts within you. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone and using your talents to serve others and glorify God. Self-leadership and discipline are essential to this process. They form the bedrock of effective leadership, enabling you to influence and inspire others through your example. In closing, I urge you to embrace these principles with faith and determination. Seek God's guidance in identifying and cultivating your gifts. Lead yourself with integrity and discipline, and let your vision drive you forward. As you apply these truths, you will find yourself not only achieving personal success, but also making a meaningful impact on the world around you. Let us commit to living out these principles daily, knowing that as we honor God with our lives, He will guide us, empower us, and bless our efforts. Embrace the journey of growth and leadership with confidence, and trust that with God's grace, you will reach your fullest potential. Thank you for your time and attention. May you go forth with a renewed sense of purpose and a deep commitment to living out the principles we've discussed today. God bless you all.